Hi, and welcome to GRA 202. I'm Jen, and I wanted to make a little video kind of going over the basics of Maya. Throughout the term, I will do videos in Max and Maya, and if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I would be happy to go over any of them. I also know a lot of you are probably new to the 3D space and it can be very overwhelming. These programs are very large and they do a lot, so you want to break it down as best you can. There will be some step-by-step things that you need to do in this first week. You do need to record yourself doing these steps, so you should turn in a video file of you kind of doing all of these steps. So, let's take a look at Maya here. You can see down here, it says Persp. That means I'm in my perspective viewport. If I hit spacebar, I can make it larger. You can go over here and go into 4 viewports. You can see top, front, side, and perspective. Wherever your mouse is over, if you hit spacebar, you'll go into that viewport. We have tabs up here that go over each different section. In Max, you'll have kind of your editor over here that will be your main space where you go for everything. Maya, they're kind of organized differently and you have different drop downs here. Both try to make it easy to understand. Both will do, again, the same exact thing. It's just whichever one you prefer to use. I'm going to actually not do a sphere, I'll do a cube. All right, so what I want you to get used to, no matter which software you're using, is keeping your left hand on the keyboard. So you're going to use W, E, and R for move, rotate, and scale. There are buttons that you can use, but I really want to see you get used to using the hotkeys. Makes a big difference and it's a big time saver. So W, E, R. Okay, I'm going to scale this up a little bit so we can see it further. Then you can navigate by doing Command or Control if you're on a PC, but Command and then left mouse. Your middle mouse, oops, sorry about that. Command middle mouse moves, and then you can always drag your wheel in and out to zoom. If you right mouse click on your model, you can see we can go into object mode, edge, vertex, face. We will be going over UVs as you go further in your career at Southern, but for this course, we're just focusing in on modeling. So you'll want to get used to object mode, edge, vertex, and face. Okay? Now, in this term, as we go along, you will need to be modeling something. We're going to be making a low poly model and then a high poly model. Polygons are just your faces here. So, for example, this front face right here is a 4-sided polygon. Now, because I have one cube, there's going to be 6 faces to this cube. So my whole poly count right now is 6. In Maya, you're going to want to be able to see that. So I'm going to go to Display, Heads Up Display, and then Poly Count. So you can see here, I have 6 faces. What this means, I'll break it down real quick. I just created a cylinder. So remember I had 6 faces before. Well, this is my whole scene. In my whole scene, I have 66 faces. On the object that I have selected, I have 60 faces. And I don't have any currently selected in the model. If I click on this one, you can see I'm back to my 6. So this will be important to keep track of as we go along. Now, in Max, you'll right mouse click and go to Create Editable Poly. In Maya, it's already ready to be edited. So I can click on this, and again, this week you're just showing me navigation, but I want to kind of take a look at what we're going to be doing throughout the term. I would highly recommend, if you are new to the 3D software, pick a simple object, a prop, something that you have in your house so you can look at it, see it from all different angles, and model it. If you have any questions on what to do as we move forward, feel free to email me and we can pick an object that will work well for you. So in Maya, we have your channel box and your attribute editor. These you're going to be taking a look at a lot. You can hit Control A, as in Apple, to toggle between the two. They're showing you the same things, but in a different way. So I'm down in my attribute editor, P cube shape 1. This is my polycube. You can rename it, feel free. A lot of times I like to use my outliner. So you can go, window outliner. And now you can see I've got P cube 1, P cylinder 1. So, whatever I'm making, let's just say a hammer, I can rename it, and now it'll be renamed over here, hammer shape. Here in the first hammer tab, you can see translate, rotate, and scale, which were the same things that we could see here. So if I hit W for my move tool, you can see where it is in space. If you need to undo anything, you just hit Z. So if I go over to this Polycube 1 tab, you can see I have subdivisions. So I can turn these up. Again, when we're making a low poly model, we don't want to go too crazy with it. So only add subdivisions for what you would need. But I do want you to be aware that you can do it right here. Once you start editing your object, you won't be able to go back and do this. So let's take a look at some of the tools we have to edit our shape. Obviously, you can go into vertex mode and just start moving them around, or edge or face. So for example, I can start picking up or lowering a vertice. I do want you to be aware that depending upon how you're looking at something, you may want to click and drag. So let's say I wanted to make the roof of a house. If I just grab this front one, I'm not doing anything to the rest. So if I look at it straight on and click and drag, it's going to grab every vertice that is in alignment with it. You can also go in edge mode, hold shift to select multiple edges to move, or you can go into face mode. And you can rotate and scale in any of those modes. Okay. So in Max, you'll need to convert to an editable poly, but in Maya, it's already set up to be an editable poly. But we do have similar tools in each. So we have Swift Loop in Max, which is the same as Insert Edge Loop in Maya. This works perpendicularly, so whatever edge you click on, and I haven't let go yet, it creates a perpendicular loop. It's very important that we model in edge loops. You don't want to have just a singular edge. All right. We can extrude. This is probably one of the most commonly used tools. So if I go into face mode, now I'm going to select a few faces here. If I wanted to create maybe a castle look or something, and I want to have maybe every other one, I'll deselect the middle one. Going up, if I just move it, it moves everything around it. But if I go to Mesh, Edit Mesh, Extrude, I like to then hit W and move in my world space, but that's up to you. I can then move these pieces out without affecting anything. And you can still scale, rotate these pieces as well. Now just be very careful and aware. If you do an Edit Mesh Extrude and then click off and go to do something else, it doesn't look like anything happened, but you have double the information on top of each other, and that's going to give us issues as we move forward. So for example, if I click and drag over this vertice here, you can see that I have two vertices selected. Now we can fix this by going to Edit Mesh, Merge to Center, and that makes it as one. But you'll have to do that to all four, so just be aware of what you're doing as you go along. Sometimes you may have a hole in your mesh that you need to bridge. So I will go into face mode. And then you'll just want to go into Edge and select either side of the hole that you're trying to fill. Hold Shift to select both. And then I can go into Edit Mesh and Bridge. You can change the number of divisions, all sorts of things. Now, for this to work, they need to be part of the same mesh. So if you're actually trying to bridge a tunnel between two pieces, you'll need to combine those meshes before you move forward. That's something else that we can get to if it comes up. So extruding, insert edge loops, merging vertices, all of that are going to be your main tools for editing your mesh. Okay, so this week, again, get used to navigating the viewport, toggling around to be able to zoom in and see what you're dealing with. You will need to create several different shapes. A common error that I see, and make sure you don't do this, translate is move, rotate, obviously turning around, and scale is changing the size. You need to do different ones for each piece it has you create. So pay attention to the instructions and just make sure you're doing what each step calls for. All right, and then take a look moving forward and thinking about what you want to model. I'm using Maya 2019. I would highly recommend 2019 for Max or Maya. I know 2020 is out for Max and you can give it a shot, but sometimes they're a little bit glitchy at the beginning. And as always, let me know if you have any questions and have a good week.